pints are stupid. I mean, we have just come from the pub, but
Where we had a pint.
yeah.
I'm thinking about stuff.
Well,
I'm mulling things over. I'm in the bath thinking about things.
Alex, again,
Did not
for the
need
podcast.
that. We did not need that. No one needed that.
Where's my big stick? Just to kind of start stirring
It's
the
good
pot.
for us. It's like therapy. We should do-
And he said, "Don't use it because I will. I'll sue you." And we went,
We're all. Look at us all just
I'm creative in how
So-
magnanimous I am.
creative.
Hi, and welcome to the Session Podcast, the home of spirited conversation. Do you like that?
"That's good."
It's all right, isn't it?
Let's bring this spirit.
In one.
There you go. So I'm your host, Brad Crompton, and the co-founder of Session Spirits by Spirit of Bermondsey. Very proud to be joined today by Johnny, Alex, and Ollie from These Days Drinks. Today we'll learn all about modern drinking culture, around the modern aperitivo and what that means, and how These Days Drinks came to be about. So let's jump in.
Nice. Yeah, sounds good.
Guys, thank you again for coming on. It's great to have you on. We've had a quick chat outside, so getting to know a bit about the background of what you guys do and where you come from. If I could go around the room, quick intro to who you are, what you do, your role within These Days Drinks, and then we'll start to unpick your lives throughout from there. So Johnny, should I start with you?
Yeah, so I guess all three co-founders between us for These Days, and I sort of do sales and new business development. That kind of means investment as well as the sales. Mainly sales. That's what I do.
Yeah. Ollie?
Yes, so I do finance and ops, which is kind of the boring stuff, but also all the liquid, so new product development and all the production, that's me.
I think start with that next time. That's better than the finance stuff.
It's whatever's top of mind, I think.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And Alex?
Yeah, I'm Alex. I guess I am the creative director of this three-man team. So I do like all the creative stuff, the branding, the marketing, sales when I'm needed to. But I'm not very good at that. So I stick to the other
I don't know
two
if you can get
usually.
away with that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Before we jump in and learn more about what you guys do and how you guys came about, and I think we should look at the gap you're trying to fill in the market. So you guys talk about being the modern aperitivo, which I've always found is a word which can get misunderstood in the industry. And people listening today might think, aperitivo, I know what that means. Do I know what it means? What is it?
Yeah.
So could you guys explain in your eyes what the aperitivo is and why it's so important in today's drinking culture?
Yeah, so we definitely have that battle. Like, it's an uphill battle to explain what it means. And like, so before all this, I was a bartender. So I've worked with the category. Aperitivo is a drinks category and sort of a moment in drinking culture. And yeah, our brand is all about trying to explain that. When being a bartender, aperitivo is about this European culture of drinking that happens sort of just after work, before dinner, and it's very easy to get into sort of the nerdy stuff, talking about how the word means to sort of to open, and it's meant to stimulate your appetite. But what we're trying to do is bring it out of this sort of stuffy traditional brands, the Camparis of the world, the Aperols, and we're trying to modernise it and make it more accessible.
And more fun.
More fun,
That's it.
yes, we hope so. Yeah, I mean, like, Aperol has done a huge amount for us as a brand. Like, as you say, there's some big players that dominate the whole aperitivo market, and Aperol sort of burst onto the scene not that long ago, and they've now sort of become synonymous with summer. You know, as soon as it's sunny outside, you have a spritz. That's sort of the extent that aperitivo has made it over here, whereas, in fact, there's a whole category that's yet to be discovered. And that's what I was trying to do as a bartender, but also what we're trying to do as a brand. Yeah, so it took a while. Like, there was a lot of time where I was trying to make cocktails that were filled with lots of little vermouths and aromatized wines, and were very inaccessible to any sort of drinker that was just trying to have a fun drink. And then, yeah, the pandemic came around, which meant a lot of bartenders had a lot of time off. And then Alex and I met up in Finsbury Park to talk about, like, if we were able to do something together. because his background is graphic design and advertising, something that I've never done at all. To see if we could make a brand, and there's now 3 years ish. Just had our second birthday like a month ago, but the idea came around sort of about 3 years ago to do this modern aperitivo.
So aperitivo, and I'm going to play dumb. So
Sure.
play dumb. I have no idea. You couldn't go in and have a beer, could you, as an aperitivo?
What we're trying to do is show that there aren't as many rules as you think there are. So a lot of our, if sort of Italians drink our drinks, those are sort of the hardest people to get on board with the brand, because they have been brought up in this culture where there's a certain time of day, you sit down, you have a certain type of drink. They're usually quite bitter, so maybe quite difficult for more of an English palate. You have to have food with it, and it sort of is the start of a really long night.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, there are loads of sort of elements that we love. Like, we love that it's the start of the night, and it promotes staying out and not getting too drunk and having a nice meal and making sure you are surrounded by people. So we're trying to pull out the bits that aren't super strict, that are more accessible, as we say. That's accessibility is what we're all about.
So I've seen you guys, so Johnny, I think I saw a post from you recently as well, where you also use the word sessionable. And it's this kind of new phrase that I think is starting to get used a lot more, which is a really nice way to kind of capture a full range of drink categories and types of drinks, but following the same sort of culture shift towards slow sipping, long nights, but about enjoying the drink and having each drink having its own place in the evening, rather than just drinking to get as drunk as possible.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, it's the, I guess we talk like about intentional drinking as well. Like, it's not just blind sort of continuously habitually necking pints and then getting a kebab on the way home. Like, maybe that's kind of a bit of a culture thing that we see at the moment. Whereas I guess sessionable ABV is all about kind of being a bit more intentional about the drinking. Like, it's also not about don't drink, like that positioning of you either do or you don't. I think this world of in between kind of fits or sort of strikes a chord a lot more, because people do want the benefits of drinking alcohol. Like, it has positive effects, relaxes you and all that sort of stuff, but kind of having more control over that, which I think that's kind of what we want to tap into with the ABV, and aperitivo sort of nails that. Basically, that's why we're obsessed with aperitivo. That's what we focus on.
Yeah,
because it hits that like intentional drinking. It feels a bit more conscious, a bit more like you're there in the moment, having those meaningful connections, and that's what we want to encourage, I guess.
I guess, Alex, from your point of view as well, the aperitivo scene, it ties in very nicely with the summer season and that kind of lighter, brighter experience. So I guess from a graphic design point of view and a marketing point of view and a creative direction, it's probably quite a fun brand to work with and quite a good, fun category to work with.
Yeah, it's loads of fun. I think when we first started thinking about the brand, and Ollie first came to me with the idea, it was all about trying to make this like stuffy category accessible, and trying to take something that lots of people enjoy, but lots of people find really difficult to get into, and make a brand that people can really easily engage with. And then that's sort of the starting point for everything we've done with the branding and the way we try and carry ourselves in our marketing and all that kind of stuff. It's always about accessibility, being a bit fun, but then also making stuff that feels like modern and exciting. I feel like classic aperitivos have a really rich design history, but it's quite impenetrable. Like, if you see old or classic aperitifs, the design is very difficult to determine, like, what's in the drink, what does it taste like. It's all very opaque, whereas with these days, where we want to put ourselves forwards is as like I said, a modern, accessible brand that has fun, engaging branding. So like, it's a really, really great project to work on. It's a really, really fun brand to work with. Also, I've been able to put so much of myself into it. It's great. No one really tells me don't do that. I'm usually in charge, so that's pretty good. With the bottle design and then website and stuff, it's all about accessibility, making it really, really easy for people to understand what the product is and enjoy aperitivo and get involved with it and try it if they haven't, and if they have, try something new.
Yeah, and it's a perfect transition to my next question, really, which was, let's talk about the product itself. So, you've gone for the 6% spritz. Was there some kind of deliberation between?
There was a lot of deliberation.
Yeah,
It was all around the sort of talking about 5 or 6% for a long time because we knew we wanted it to be sessionable to the point where it was actually sessionable. You know, you get a lot of pints. I mean, we talk about pints a lot in this podcast, I think, but sessionable 3% pint is still a pint of liquid. Like, you drink a pint of water, it's too much. Whereas, 3%, you have 3 of those, and it's starting to become a bit more than a session. So we wanted to stick to the regular spritz size. So look to Aperol for that. So it's about 150ml out of what is 150ml out of the bottles. And the 5 or 6%, we didn't want to be in the beer world. If you're 5%, people will look at it and be like, okay, I know, I can guess what that is going to make me feel like. And we wanted to be slightly above that so that we can keep ourselves in the cocktail world, because that's what we are. But we really wanted to make sure that, you know, people could be drinking this drink and not feel the effects immediately. That we want them to be staying out for a long time, having some food, and really trying to do aperitivo like we think it should be done.
Yeah.
I think it comes back to the accessibility point as well. Like, we referenced Aperol in it. I remember doing that work about finding out the ABV of an Aperol and like where we wanted to benchmark versus that. And Aperol comes out between like 10 and 12%.
Yeah, depending on the
who makes
bartender.
it. Yeah, depending on how heavy-handed you are. But yeah, so like we wanted to definitely be lower than that, so you could enjoy a number of the spritzes without starting to be like getting lost in it, I guess. I think at 6%, it's sessionable. That's the word we come back to all the time, because you can definitely have more than one spritz and still like feel the good effects without getting sort of lost within it. I think we kind of found this sweet spot maybe within at 6%.
Yeah, it's come back, like the feedback, people are always pleasantly surprised by the ABV. Like, I think people, you know, especially with cocktail culture, people have no idea how strong a cocktail is. Like, when we were doing that work, we asked all our mates, like, how strong do you think an espresso martini is? Like, how many shots are in it?
I wouldn't even know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know. I
And
think there's ones which I've had which I think, it's a bit fruity, it's a bit lighter.
Yeah.
That would be fine. And then before I know it, I'm halfway through,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, wow.
A good cocktail should be completely balanced. Like, you shouldn't, you know, you should be able to taste the alcohol, but it shouldn't be like, oh, fuck, like that's really burning. So yeah, we asked everyone overshoots by loads or completely undershoots. Like, there's no accuracy.
Right, interesting.
So like, yeah, with the Aperol, asking all our friends, everyone thought it was sort of 15%, but they have no idea what that means. Like, 15% to them is way less than a shot. But if you're having 4 or 5 15% drinks, then yeah, it will sneak up on you. Most popular drink at the moment, which is an aperitivo, which is good for us, but is a classic, is the Negroni.
Mm-hmm.
Any?
Well, yeah. So I guess Negroni, because you've got a few different ingredients, haven't you?
Mm.
All of which are alcohol.
Incredibly boozy ingredients. Yeah.
I'm going to go with, and it's a short drink as well, so I'm probably going to go with, like, I might be really, really way off, like 35%.
Yeah, so between 28 and 34-ish, depending on how diluted. But yeah, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of RTD cocktails coming out now that are classic cocktails. So there's Negronis and old fashions, which are making it more easy to see, like, how much you're actually drinking. But yeah, I think all of our friends have no idea.
Yeah. So in terms of how you guys came together then, so you mentioned before the idea began during lockdown. It'd be great to hear how the idea came around officially, and then how you took that from concept to creation to where we are now. We were all involved at the very, very start.
No, so the idea, for a long time, I think it's sort of a classic route that a bartender wants to start owning a brand, because your back starts hurting after a few years. And so aperitivo is always my sort of category of choice. Aperitivo, I feel like, if as a sort of definition, like, it's a confusing word, but the category of drinks is extremely broad, and not very many have made it over here. And yeah, I was very much the nerdy bartender that was using like 10 mils of vermouth in cocktails, and I was really trying to show the sort of breadth of the category and making menus that looked great. I used to work in a cocktail bar in East London called the Culpeper, if you know it. Garden
That was
Restaurant.
actually one of my favourite ever pubs.
Really?
Or bars. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I worked there for 5 years, and yeah, loved it. Like, worked my way up, became bar manager, and yeah, had the sort of creative freedom Alex does now, just to make menus. So that was my sort of training for it, and I think that was like incredibly important, like vital for what the drinks became, because yeah, some of the choices that we made were because of the knowledge that I gained back then. And yeah, I think while there was the pandemic, like I still stayed with the company, and aperitivo sort of became, it was in very sharp focus during that time, because one of the big values of aperitivo is bringing people together, connecting meaningfully.
And we had the best summer on record as well, so it seemed to last forever.
And and then Alex and I, so we've known each other for since we were 7, so a very long time. And yeah, I knew Alex had a set of skills that I didn't have.
Specific set of skills.
But also I'd met Johnny at the Culpeper. Johnny used to sell booze to the Culpeper, so we had a relationship for a long time. That was very booze forward. It was whiskey back then, but so I got in touch with Johnny then at sort of the same time as with Alex, which led us to a very long, talking about ABV and what the branding should look like. But we had kind of the advantage of time, because we kind of all were doing other things at the time. It took us a really long time to get it made into a bottle. Like the sort of learning curve from taking it at bar level to something that you might be able to put in shops, which is like kind of the thought process we had to think about, was really difficult and took us a long time. And we met a whole bunch of cowboys in their respective industries that led us to getting the drinks that we have.
That's not the first name you guys had, was it? You had a different name for a little while.
We did. There's
a very, very embarrassing Google Doc that exists,
which is locked between us.
I don't know if I can even find it anymore yet.
I hope not, because it's full of names that we didn't use that were not good.
Right.
But before we got to these days, we had another name, which we got as far as the URL with it. So we had like
and our emails that we still
and the emails.
So you'd invested money and time into getting this set up, and
So funny you should say that word, time, because the person may still have it, but the name that we picked was that we had before was Time and Place, which Ollie came up with and I quietly hated. And then we tried.
Oh,
we got the email.
I don't know.
It's all coming out now.
we got the email addresses for it, and then we realised that it was copyrighted.
Yeah, it was
really
copyrighted by a guy in Glasgow who has a distilling business.
I'm surprised Time and Place was used by a different distillery.
We were very surprised.
Disappointed, you could say.
we even we had never done anything like this before. Like we got in touch with our legal, like outsourced legal people.
Our legal team.
Very expensive legal outsource
department.
Yeah. Who said, don't get in touch with them. And then we thought, we know better than them. We're going to get in touch with them. And we just emailed this guy, and he said, don't use it because I will I'll sue you. And we went, fine. Okay. Yeah, fine. We'll figure another name.
You won't do that.
Which led to the Google Doc that must not be named.
So what else could we find in that Google Doc?
Oh,
do you know what? I'm going to actually say that unmentionable. Then there was nothing redeemable on there. What was there?
Wicker and Shade is my favourite one because Ollie came up with it and it's terrible.
What? This is turning
Wicker
into
and Shade.
Wicker and Shade.
For
those at the back, you didn't hear that.
Sounds like a curtain brand.
Yeah.
Our furniture store in the future.
Very good
Definitely
curtain.
Furniture store. We also had SL /
No, this is. I don't even know if you can say this.
/ ice, which was, because ice and slice, like that's how we. Doesn't matter. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
Because ice and slice what?
Because ice and slice. It never made it past the Google Doc, so we didn't think.
I think it's evident Ollie is a bartender.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not the creative director of the.
What's clear here is
to bring in people that were better than I was.
This is a brilliant time to start Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
While we're already on the attack.
I feel like I've already been put down.
Hey guys, just wanted to take a quick break from the podcast to let you know about our drinks brand, Session Spirit. we've created the perfect spirit that allows you to enjoy the best of both worlds. It's a 25% spirit made with London dry gin. Why did we create a sessionable spirit? Well, it allows you to reduce your hangovers and make a healthier choice while still enjoying an award-winning, full-tasting gin. It's also half the calories, vegan, gluten-free, and contains no carbs or sugars. Head over to www.sessionspirit.co.uk to grab your bottle and get £5 off with code podcast5. Okay, great. Let's get back to the pod.
It's time to play Mr. and Mrs.
Okay, so I've got 6 questions. I feel like the first one's pretty much set up for you,
Oh, great.
Ollie, so I think you'll probably do alright and kind of get a bit of pride back. But who makes the best cocktail?
Me.
Me.
Ollie.
You.
I just wanted to do that.
Outrageous.
You never made me a cocktail.
Yeah, I'm too busy selling.
Although Alex, I mean, was not a bartender before. We were just talking before this.
And I'm not a bartender now.
But he's got his birthday coming up, and he's just asked if he can have a Buckfast Negroni as a special cocktail.
Which I have made before, wrong, I think.
Well, I think
put it in for the
that
wrong
answers
thing.
the question maybe then.
Yeah. And
But what does the Buxford even replace? Or is it
The vermouth.
vermouth? Okay.
Yeah, Buckfast is actually very close to vermouth taste-wise. Yeah, but just very different culture.
Yeah. No, cool. Okay, fair enough.
Scotland has a rich aperitivo. Actually, history of aperitif.
Buckfast isn't Scottish.
Well, it's drunk there though. It's from Dorset, isn't it?
Yeah, some monks down there.
We're off topic. Sorry.
Sorry.
That's cool. Okay, I think this one as well is also going to be pretty straightforward.
Is it who's the best graphic designer?
Oh, you've seen it already. Who's the most creative? But that doesn't have to be in terms
Me.
of design. That could be in any. Like, you can be a creative thinker, creative seller, creative bartender, creative.
I think it is
designer.
Alex. I think it is Alex. I'm afraid.
Define creative is what I would
Yeah.
say respectfully to that.
No,
Well, that's-
Alex.
I mean,
Yeah.
drawing
That's
nice
big
things,
to argue.
there's no one better in the team than drawing nice things.
Oh, I feel that's a backhanded compliment.
That's
a little
the
bit.
point. I'm just trying to have a drama here. Come on. No, Alex is the most creative person in the team. Could you hear the gritted teeth? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. You
I'm
guys
joking.
are both pretty creative in your own ways. Your bartending requires a lot of creativity, and also you're good at. You have an eye for designing stuff like the bar. You built the bar. A lot of the bar was you.
Mm.
You're creative in your problem solving.
We're all look at us all just
I'm creative in how
so-
magnanimous I am.
creative.
Who would you say is the funniest?
Me, that is me.
He is quite. Ollie is very funny.
To laugh
Me. I'll take me then.
Ollie-
That's two.
Ollie's
That's
the
two.
other
on
one.
one.
Ollie's
funny.
emails.
Ollie's
Oh,
emails.
yeah,
emails.
the secret email.
Ollie's a very good copywriter. You're very funny with words.
Thank you, Alex.
soon to be
You're good at
published.
This is
on
going
LinkedIn.
way nicer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I apologise.
That's
if
'cause
this
you're
is
winning right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's nice for you.
I like this game.
I think a lot of our battle is trying to get Ollie to show some of that.
The writing
Yeah, some of your humour a bit more in the
business.
business. Yeah.
When this
people-
comes out, though, Ollie will be posting all of these.
Yeah,
This great copy on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
yeah. Now
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 we've
the
said
people
it.
have seen.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Great. Thank you for
Al.
that. That's,
You can't hide that, can you?
Yeah.
So who's the real brains behind these days' drinks?
Me.
Me.
Johnny.
Yes, Alex.
Yeah.
Finally,
Oh, you've got one.
some respect for my name.
Yeah, Johnny. To be fair, is the one pushing us forward. I would say.
Well, I think
You sit.
No, yeah, you're right.
Johnny sits at
No,
a
I'm
very,
joking.
Johnny sits at a very unique point in the business where you're between a lot of different parts of it. You know the most about each facet.
Mm.
So I think you're good for helping drive us on and like collect our thoughts a little bit sometimes.
The
For
wind,
me, anyway,
The
I
wind
find-
beneath your wings, if you will.
The wind,
that's going on my LinkedIn.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny is the wind.
the wind within the company.
That's what his business card says.
I think. Well,
Johnny, the wind.
The wind.
I appreciate that. No, I think. Well, I worked at Seedlip for a while, and that was a startup drinks brand. So I think there's experience from that, which you guys didn't have beforehand,
Mm.
because you came from different parts. So there's probably just a bit of that, of like trying to do what Seedlip did, because they were quite successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll take the compliment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Who's the biggest drama queen?
Alex.
Ooh.
Alex. That I mean,
Whoa,
that is,
whoa, whoa,
that is
whoa, whoa.
that's our first, maybe
about
our
you?
first
That was our first.
drama queen.
Where's my big stick? Just to kind of start stirring
This is
the
good
pot.
for us. This is like therapy. We should do
Yeah.
this
It's
every
turning
year.
into a bit of a therapy session.
How long
Yeah.
yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
for?
I
Can we do more of these?
Yeah.
Are we paying you? Yeah, I'm afraid that's you, Alex. Yeah,
fair enough, fine.
unanimous.
without doubt.
Unanimous.
I would
Okay.
say without a doubt, John.
And then this one is interesting because it almost goes against what you guys stand for in a
Mhm.
way, but at the same time, it does reflect the balance of enjoying alcohol.
Hmm.
Who's the most likely to accidentally get the most drunk?
Alex.
Accidentally.
It's certainly not me.
Yeah, definitely accidentally.
Accidentally.
Or on purpose, either way.
No,
Are you
both,
because you're saying
Alex.
it's on purpose.
As in, I would do it on purpose, but wouldn't get the most drunk. I'd say you.
Okay, maybe I'm accidentally and you're on purpose.
Yeah.
that's probably a good. That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's
It's
a
not
good
either way.
compliment.
It's not Johnny.
Yeah, because I'm
The most
really
grown up.
conscious about my alcohol,
Johnny.
living the brand.
You're pushing the brand ahead.
The wind.
The professional wind.
I've got
I
professional.
can't drink because I have wind. You heard it here.
To be fair, if that's anyone, it's probably me.
Professional wind. Let's
Well,
not get.
I
onto
can't
that.
drink, so I can't drink beer because I can't burp.
This isn't for the people.
That's
Yeah.
not for the podcast. Yeah.
People don't need to know that.
That's the kind of the extra hours. After.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's the most likely to be late?
Alex.
That,
Yeah.
I mean, not even
I would have guessed that.
close.
we even said that before you said that because you were late.
It's on
for
brand,
something.
maybe for the creative director.
Yeah.
It's more. He's got
Just
he's
thinking
got
of
stuff
stuff.
to think about.
Big
thinking-
entrance,
yeah.
kind of a proud big
Yeah.
entrance.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about stuff.
Well, yeah,
I'm mulling
yeah.
things over. I'm in the bath thinking about things.
Alex again.
Did
not
not
for the
need
podcast.
that. Did not need that. No one needed that.
That's a visual that I have to get burned out of.
yeah. We've got the drinks for it.
Yeah. So who's the most likely to be chatting someone up at the bar when you turn around to try and talk to them?
Alex.
I think we all know that's not true.
None of us.
None of us.
We're
We're all professional wins.
thank you. Exactly.
Professional wins.
to be
The
fair, I
bar-
don't think we wouldn't.
I think. I mean,
Me?
only because bartending. That's basically what bartending is. That's what I did for a long time. Professional
That's growth.
flirting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
You
therapy.
better say that they all just come to me,
Ah,
so I don't need
sorry.
to go in.
We'll do that again.
This one's from Cal.
Yeah.
The producer Cal, who's made it very clear this is his question.
Mhm.
Who is always the last man standing?
Ooh,
Again, it's between you two.
I think it's me. I think it's me.
You think
I
it's you?
I think Alex is
I think
tired.
it's usually
Ooh, dark horse, Alex.
I think if
we're
it's at the bar,
rarely in the bar at the same
if
time.
it's a bar, me. If it's at home, you.
If it's at our bar,
We don't live together.
at the aperitivo.
Yeah, if it's at our bar,
100 Druid Street in Bermondsey.
good shout out,
Thank you.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Wind.
Keeping us on track.
Just drive
Yeah,
through.
Alex,
driving through.
probably pips it maybe a little bit.
We both
I-
like that though. We both like staying.
Like,
That's the good bit. The
Yeah.
end is often the good bit. You know, when it's like the bar starts to empty out a little bit.
we are an aperitivo.
You can
Uh,
reflect on the evening.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a really nice time to be in a bar when it's emptying out a little bit. Not
Yeah.
empty bar, but emptying out a little bit at the end of the night.
See, I thought you, Johnny, you might just sneak that one because I guess you've had a career of just selling alcohol, so you always have to be drinking quite a bit.
Yeah, see,
Quite a
that maybe was me when I was selling whiskey because you have to drink professionally.
If
Mhm.
you're gonna drink whiskey at the end of the night, that's the right time.
Yeah, exactly. There I'd be propping up the bar. But then I worked at Sealip, so non-alc. So I saw the light. No, I didn't really, but I think I just got old. I'm 30. These guys are in their 20s, famously.
Johnny's 30. I'm nearly 29.
Yeah,
It's,
famously in your 20s.
worlds apart.
I think I'm just more mature than these guys.
That's true. Yeah.
yeah.
You also live in Twickenham.
Yeah.
So that plays
my
quite a
dog.
big part in it.
Shout out.
Yeah,
That's very mature, to be fair.
it is.
Twickenham's a very mature area.
It is.
With the dog.
No further wits. It is. I'm more mature than these guys, basically, yeah. But 5 years ago, maybe.
That concludes Mr. and Mrs.
All right. Brilliant. Well, that concludes Mr. and Mrs. for now.
I thought
We may come back to it if we have time, but I think we're going to get distracted and we'll just do it all night. So
Yeah.
I want to learn more about the ready-to-drink part of your business. You know, I've got 2 stats here that I've written down that I've stolen from you. I'm sure you guys can explain more than I can. The RTD, or ready-to-drink market itself, is tipped to be about 40 billion by 27 in terms of value, right? And then the spritz market, which I guess you guys specialise in, is about 51 million, which is very impressive considering that is monopolised by 1 or 2 big brands and is only going upwards. So, Johnny, this might fall into your remit now to talk a bit more around the market, why is it so exciting for you guys, and where you think it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of riding the wave of 2 big sort of trends in that respect within the spritz market. But like you said, that 50 million was 2021 in the UK, and the big orange elephant in the room, like Aperol, dominates that with 97%. So I think that opportunity for us is like, it's clear the appetite for spritz, like that style of drinking, that like bright, bitter, bubbly, sort of refreshing drink is popular. But in any market, when you're only getting served sort of one version of that, I think that represents a chance for sort of disruption and a challenger brand. So we're attacking that space, I guess, within spritz specifically, and then because of the origin of the brand, we're trying to make aperitivo more accessible. That kind of, we had to be ready to drink. That's the most accessible format. We speak a lot about being like akin to a craft beer in this space as well, of like, regardless of format, so on keg, in bottle, or in a can, it's kind of doesn't really matter about the format. Like, will be where you need the drink to be. At home it's easy to serve from a bottle or a can, or in a pub it's on tap and it's easy and accessible in that way. So riding that wave of the RTD space is great for us. But I think to speak specifically about the RTD space, it's very cocktail led at the moment, and there's still a little bit of a hangover of the quality credentials. And in that data that you stole from me, that I read this morning, that we've both now read, the driver for growth behind that was like premium plus, so premiumization of the space. So I think for the past like maybe 5 years, our RTD has been, the accessibility and the grab and go has really hit, but the quality hasn't really delivered, and that's really detrimental for new RTD brands coming into the space, because people then think of the category in a sort of, have worse impressions of it. So that change happening is really positive for us. Premiumization of the RTD space, and then we sit within spritz, and being a aperitivo and a spritz brand. I think riding those two waves is important for us. And very exciting for any potential investors who might be watching and, have some money to invest in a fast-growing spritz brand. Get in contact with me.
I love it.
That's what I would say.
There's a really interesting theory around challenger brands and having competition in the market. And there's a theory behind Pepsi and Coke. And the idea is, if you have a Coke machine at a university or a petrol station which sells 100 a day, and then you put a Pepsi machine next to it, most people will go, okay, well, they'll probably halve the sales. Well, the theory is that both machines will then sell more than 100. And the reason is because the question people had initially when they saw a Coke machine by itself was, do I want a Coke or not? And then with a Pepsi machine next to it, it becomes, do I want a Coke or a Pepsi? And because most people will focus on a question of this or that, one or the other, you remove the option of not buying a drink altogether. So if you enter a bar and they only have one product like yours, so it could be an Aperol, for you it could be another session spirit. For us, I feel that many bars have a lower quota of these new emerging categories than they will do for the old monopoly of the big guys. It's never a case of, well, you only have one, so you can't sell ours. It's more of a case of adding both in allows you to compete and to kind of increase sales of both, which is very interesting for me.
We have a very similar example to this.
Well, the incrementality of sales is I think the point that you're making there around like attacking a dominant brand in the space or a dominant product in the space. And I think that is something that we speak about a lot, and we lean into sort of flavor and choice of flavor. So we do 2 flavors of our spritzes. One is peach and one is blood orange. And there's two sort of points to make on the flavor. One is that we make it very clear what it tastes like, which is something that traditional aperitivo brands maybe don't sort of focus on as much, because there's lots of different flavors going on, and kind of
or secret recipes.
Dusty old recipe ingredients
Family
lists,
recipes,
all that sort of stuff. So we wanted to be really clear on the kind of bright, juicy, fruit-led flavors. Like when you drink it, you'll get what you expect to. And then secondly, being like around choice. So the point you're making around incrementality is we'll sell more spritzes, or said pub menu that will be stocked in next year. We'll sell more spritzes if they offer more flavor and more choice within that category. So we have the market leader, of course. I'm not expecting my customers to delist Aperol, but if you add a peach flavored spritz on there as well, I'd argue that you'd see incremental sales on top of that, and we did see that with a key customer this year, when we had both Sundown and Aperol was on a menu at the same time. The whole category grew, and yeah, I think that's pretty exciting.
I think to speak to that as well, I think the other thing that we talk about and that we've definitely seen since we've opened the bar has been that we pull customers not just from Aperol drinkers or from existing spritz drinkers. We pull customers from wine drinkers, from beer drinkers. But yeah, following on from what Johnny was saying, whatever that was, following on from what Johnny was saying, I think what we've seen at the bar anecdotally is that we don't just take market share from spritz drinkers, we also take it from people that drink in a traditional way. So that might be just usually having wine or beer when they're in the pub. And I think what's been revealing about the bar is that we're so hemmed in by beer on the beer mile, obviously, that when people who drink in this traditional way get to the bar, they're much more willing to try something new. They find what we offer quite refreshing, different drinks that aren't beer or wine, that are about flavour and taste, and maybe shorter drinks or more bitter drinks. And I think people find this new way of drinking refreshing. While you might expect us to mostly just steal market share from Aperol, I think there are a lot of people who usually drink beer or wine and are sort of bored of those options and want to try something different that isn't super out there but is fruit forward and flavour forward, but also sessionable, and something that doesn't have the same sort of stigma that maybe a cocktail has for getting you drunk or being like super expensive or badly made as well. I think, like Johnny was saying about bringing the drinks off, thinking about the spritzes as like sitting in the craft beer space. We're trying to bring them off the back bar onto taps and have them kegged and something that can be poured consistently and offer like a tasty, interesting alternative to traditional drinking culture and traditional drinks.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing, from my perspective, that I've seen you guys do. And I saw it and thought, well, that makes sense. Probably the first brand I've seen who is accessible across bottle, can, and tap. And it's almost like you go to a bar, and this might come from your experience. As you go to a bar and you're trying to sell it, and they go, "Oh, well, we our fridge is full," and you go, "Great, we have a tap," and they go, "Oh, our taps are full." You go, "Great, well, we have bottles or we have cans." So this is a great product. People want it, and no matter what your restrictions are in your bar, we can fit around that. The thinking, or was it more focused on consumers?
Definitely part of the thinking of trying to make it sort of work in the on-trade. Like Ollie's background is working in bars, and I used to work in bars too, and work with then the on-trade when working for brands. So making it work in the on-trade is really important for trial of something new. So I think that's kind of been part of our strategy from the start, is this has to work in bars as well as kind of retail. Maybe we see sort of retailers further down the line a little bit. But yeah, making sure it works in the on-trade and in bars is because people can then try the drink. You can try a glass without committing to a bottle at home, and yeah, I guess that's been part of the thinking. And then because it's a ready-to-drink format, like we say, we're talking about craft beer. We can be in the format that is best for the bar. Our ideal is that Spritz is on tap in the best pubs up and down the country. And like Alex sort of referenced before, bringing aperitivo from dusty bottles on the back bar to the front and to the taps. People ordering beer and wine, kind of, that's super easy, and we're very comfortable with that now. We want to bring aperitivo into that and make it as accessible as a beer or a wine. So if it's on tap and it's front and center, it could be in a round as well as some neck oils and some orange wine.
I found it exhausting when I've been out trying to get a drink before, and you're at the bar and you're peering around the bartender trying to look at the back bar, see like, do they have Campari? Like, can I get Campari and soda? You don't know if it's there. Sometimes you'll ask for it and they'll be like, no, we don't have it. And I think that lots of people may not be in that situation exactly, like looking for a particular drink, but they might be in the same situation of looking for that style of drink and not being able to see if it's there, know if it's on offer. Yeah. So I think this thing about bringing it onto the front of the bar, making it, like Johnny said, as accessible as beer or wine, is really important.
The on-trade is also such an incredibly important step for us, because like we're a very small team, and the best way to get a brand out there is to use the people that are selling the drinks at the bar. Like, the bartenders can be your brand ambassadors if you have the right relationships with them. Like, the same thing with Johnny, like when he was selling whiskey, you know, he was very good at his job, hence why we're here now. And like, if you like the ambassador, you like the bartender, then they'll sell your drink for you. Yeah, and that's really important for us.
Yeah, and I think the tap idea almost leapfrogs the issue of having the kind of point of sale and brand activation, which only so many brands or products in that bar can do at one time.
Yeah.
And you're kind of literally in people's faces at the bar. So it kind of defeats
your
pain point as well.
Everyone looks at the taps. Like, everyone's at the bar.
Even
like,
if you don't want a beer.
Yeah,
the
it's the first thing you see. You can't help it. Yeah, exactly.
That's a behaviour that you see in the bar all the time.
Yeah.
When you're working shift, you see guys come in. And that's something that's been really fantastic, actually, with the bar, is seeing people who are there to... You look at them and you think, you're a beer drinker. Big groups, usually, of men coming in and go into the taps where they see our spritzes, and instead of getting the lager, they will get spritzes and they'll try them and they'll usually really like them. And that's really, really refreshing.
We have had... there's been times at the bar where we watch, obviously, because like, we're the ones working. We want to see the reactions and feedback for people, and it is the best feedback, like maybe the most satisfying, when you get big groups of boys and they take this first sip, and someone recently was like, "Why is that the best thing I've had all day?"
Yeah. It's nice to see people
on the beer mile as well.
On the beer mile, yeah.
We're now in the frizz.
Exactly.
Quality in beer.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the other thing to talk about with taps is also the point about consistency. Like, it's great. Being on tap is great for people who... it's great for picking up traditional drinkers, but it's also really good for existing spirits drinkers, because one of the biggest battles that there is in the on-trade with the category is the consistency of the liquid. And it's a massive problem for people that do drink spritzes already. People know when they order an Aperol somewhere it can be bad or good. Whereas with our products, I think one of the things we're trying to overcome is like that stigma, and trying to have a product that you know is always going to be really good, because there's no mixing and there's very little you can...
There's no manual input.
Yeah,
into
it's difficult to
drink.
difficult to do badly, which is intentional.
It's one of the values of aperitivo, I think, that we try to pull, is there's no showmanship needed. Like, that's not what we're about. We're not about taking 10 minutes to make a cocktail, which certainly has its place, and like, there are some places that do it, you know, incredibly well. Some brands that do it incredibly well. But we're trying to streamline the aperitivo experience, which like adds to it just having to be an RTD.
Yeah, I think what's really cool about that as well is you've got people who might consider, you know, buying products for their home, and I think most people at some point have thought, I'll start to collate a nice bar at home and have a little home bar, and then people with limited experience of cocktail creation might then get intimidated or overwhelmed by all the choices, and then they kind of stay on the back bar and get a bit dusty. And Aperol Spritz can be a fairly simple cocktail to make compared to most. The category it falls into, and the unknown of the aperitivo moment, and just the unknown of it can make it seem a little bit intimidating. And people might think, if I try it, I'm going to get it wrong, it's not going to taste great, and they just kind of give up before they even start, right? With this product, there's nothing for you to do. You have to pop it open, pour it in how you like it, and it's done. It's about as hard to ruin as opening a bottle of beer.
Yes.
But the reason we've done that is because we're about celebrating the aperitivo moment. We want to make that as easy for people to enjoy as we can, and that starts with making the drinks as simple to make as possible. The less time you have to spend making a drink, the more time you can spend sat down enjoying your aperitivo moment with whoever you're with. So super easy when you need to pop the bottle or pour the tap or open a can.
Yeah, and then you cover all bases too, don't you? So I mean, if you're going to every reason that you might want to drink. If you're going to a bar or to a pub and it's on tap, done. It's easy. If you're going to a barbecue or having a few friends round and you think, I'll have a few, you have the bottle, done, easy. And then if you're nipping home on the train and thinking, I want a little train drink or something like that, you know, you can pop a can and then you've got a can and it's enough for that journey.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go, I need to kind of put my big bottle of Campari away in my bag and my ice.
We had a whole campaign around that. Like, when you buy Aperol, you also buy a bottle of soda and a bottle of Prosecco, and pretty much everyone's fridge, like if you're making one or two Aperols, you end up with a flat bottle of prosecco that
With a
just
teaspoon in the top.
with a teaspoon in the top. Yeah,
Yeah.
No more. Any more of that.
no more.
Never want to see one of those ever again. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's just indicative of the problem that people have with it. Like, it's they're not necessarily difficult drinks to make, but the difficult drinks to make really well, and you got to have all the stuff.
Yeah,
It's a
but
pain.
we understand that like RTD is a super new thing. Like, the reputation of it being WKD hooch and all that is
Hooch is really good though.
hooch.
Oh, that's both sides.
Thank you.
20.
But like
They're
they,
a brand sponsor for this podcast.
they like,
Great.
but that reputation of like that era is really only very recently changed, and like the pandemic did a huge amount for that. Like, you had these great bars like Three Sheets who did they were doing their French 75 in a 750ml bottle like this for a couple of years before, but it's really accelerated quickly. So like, it is still a challenge to get people to understand that the liquid is what is important, not the format. Like, working at the bar, there's been times where we've poured from the bottle or like had it on tap, and you can see the sort of reaction of people that they need to get over this obstacle of understanding that, we've put the same amount of effort into the liquid as in any format. So yeah, it's been difficult getting people to sort of get on board with the RTD.
I think it is changing though. Like,
Definitely.
hot take, but I think the lockdowns and pandemic, everyone like bought lots of bottles in. What else are you going to do? Bought lots of bottles in to try and make cocktails themselves, and learned that it's really fucking hard, basically. So I think that built like a bit of an appreciation for the ready to drink format, regardless, like the ease of it. I think that then kind of landed, but then landing the quality piece is kind of the next stage, I guess, in like RTD growth, and I think it is happening. As we mentioned before, like the premiumization will drive the growth of RTD is sort of the latest data. But yeah, I think the trust within RTD came maybe from lockdown and people realizing how hard it actually is. But yeah, and then now the next stage is coming with more premium products, and I think that like we see loads of new RTD products. Like, it's definitely getting better, and the world of like really sugary mojitos have never seen mint in their life sort of stuff is over, I think, or definitely sort of slowing down, which is really encouraging, I think.
Yeah, it's good to see how we innovate is through solving problems, and the world just gives us a very strange way of identifying problems to solve in all areas of business and life. I guess maybe 5-6 years ago, if you thought, well, everyone in the UK is going to start bulk buying cocktail equipment because there's nothing else to do, and that will then create a pain point that we can then solve. It just doesn't really sound feasible. It doesn't sound like it's going to happen.
Then everything changes.
The world works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so one thing we always do at the end of the podcast is we look to try and get a piece of advice from every guest to pass on to the listener. So we want a quote which is either meaningful to you guys, whether it's something you've read, something you've been told yourself, and what you can pass on. So I'll start with mine, just to kind of get the ball rolling. And feel free just to go, yes, brilliant, or discuss it, completely up to you. Or to say, that's rubbish, and say your own. But one that I've seen quite a bit lately, and it's stuck with me for the past couple of weeks, it's the magic you seek is in the work you're not doing. And I'm always very I'm a big culprit of thinking, why hasn't this happened? Why haven't we done this yet? And the answer really is you haven't put the work in to get the results. It ties into that other quote, which is you can't be upset about the results you haven't achieved from the work you haven't done.
Yeah.
Points.
Yeah.
I do like to complain though.
Well, it's the British way, isn't it?
I do love to complain about not having the results that we haven't got.
Yeah.
So
That was our whole Monday. Yeah, I fear I may have done this exercise wrong.
Well, I'm gonna add mine because it's similar to yours, but
Okay.
it's the actual quote is slightly a bit of a joke, but the meaning is true. So, and can we swear on this?
You all have anyway.
You already
so.
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the quote that resonates with me as we were discussing in the pub beforehand is Neil Warnock, enjoy it, but enjoy it by being fucking disciplined. And that was a joke initially when we first said it, and then I started thinking about it. Like, for me, it's more of an accountability thing for us. So we're mates, I think. I think we're mates.
Mates.
Not sure after this if
Mates
we are,
question
but-
mark?
After that Mr. and Mrs. section, I'm not sure anymore. But like because we're friends and we have a sort of flat structure within the business, and like accountability and kind of being more professional and like really delivering and being disciplined on like what we're focused on business wise. Sometimes I think we need reminding of that, and I just think of good old Neil Warnock in that respect. But I think it's a genuine point of like, and I think it's similar to that way. Like, if we're all having a good time, but if we're always looking at the next step, you're challenging your brand, you're always looking to grow and do the next thing. It's the answer to that probably is doing some hard work, doing some more stuff, because we have less resources than big people. There's only 3 of us, less experience than the bigger teams. So what we do have is time and work ethic. Then we should do that by being fucking disciplined.
Yeah.
And I did just get Neil Warnock.
You did, yeah.
I never thought I'd have that on here.
I think it works.
We also didn't think it was going to happen, but here we are.
Guy.
Here we are.
He's been around.
A round way, I think he potentially is.
Like his one about when he dies, he doesn't want people being sad, he wants people shouting, "Neil Warnock, you're a wanker."
Exactly. At least he made an impact. But yeah, I mean, that's what I
Yeah, yours is actually
Yeah,
more
I like
on
it.
brand, more on question. Mine is not. Mine is, I think, mine is less inspirational. It's actually, in fact, not inspirational at all. It was more just like what we thought would be a lasting these days sort of quote. Because mine is just "pints are stupid," which has gone down controversially before, but we quite strongly believe that pints are not the way forward. I mean, we have just come from the pub, but
Well, we had a pint.
yeah.
But the last bit of a pint
Which
is
was a stupid decision.
It was a stupid decision because
where-
pints are
Awful
stupid.
choice.
Those guys at these days are stupid because they drink pints.
It is a
that are
serious.
stupid.
It
I think
is
this is
the
a,
quote.
this
It is a
point-
joke,
this is
but it is a
this
serious
point that
point.
you should
yeah, because like
elaborate.
You drank those pints just to show people what not to do.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, we've got to. But seriously, it's like English culture is so close to having aperitivo. Like it really is close, and so often you see people spitting onto the streets, drinking pints, and like it looks great, and people love to do it. We're not trying to take that away from them, but it's such a mindless activity that so often, everyone here will have done it. You have 3, 4, 5 pints really quickly because everyone's overexcited, and you're suddenly like too drunk for what you want, where you want to be, and that's what we're trying to. That's our moment. That's where we're trying to get in and say there's something else here. So yes, pints are stupid. Thanks.
Ollie Man, 2023.
I think you've just found our trailer video.
Oh no, we're getting cancelled.
Yeah.
boys.
I think you get cancelled for saying pints are stupid.
Yeah, we're getting cancelled by the pub culture. We love pubs and we want to be on tap in all pubs. So
we want a
just to
pub.
make that-
We want a pub with no pints.
Pints are stupid
That's
comes
my
with a lot of
point.
caveats. Yeah, a lot of.
Don't
Try not
give
to
away
say that.
don't give away
worry.
all the
Don't
secrets,
go
mate. What's
But
your quote, Alec?
My quote to follow on from what you said was not inspirational. I think I'm probably going to go with the most
Most
not
inspirational.
inspirational, but
It's a high bar to.
I'm going to have to define what it means, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a very good job.
That's inspirational stuff, right?
Or if you leave it as a kind of cliffhanger
Oh yeah.
metaphor,
Find out next week.
then we'll go away. Think about it. Yeah.
My quote is, "Fail we may, sail we must," which was passed to me via the internet from a musician that I like very much,
I had the internet.
which was told to him by an Irish fisherman. And he said to this guy, like, "Why do you go out fishing every day?" And the guy was like, "Fail we may, sail we must." And I think it speaks to a kind of mindless determinism that you need to have when you're doing something like this, where don't worry too much about the failing, worry about the sailing. You sort of got to keep going. I think it's quite nice.
It's not the stupidest thing you've...
I think you got around actually. That's
Yeah.
pretty inspirational. You did it.
Explained really well.
Carl, producer Carl is...
Don't worry about the failing. Worry about
I don't know which musician it is.
It was Andy Weatherall.
That's very inspirational. Andy Weatherall.
He was an electronic musician who's dead, unfortunately.
R.I.P.
That's not
Not
where we
great,
want to
not
end.
gonna say that.
But good quote.
Look, guys, thank you again for coming on. I've really
very
enjoyed
much.
hearing about your story, learning about where you came from, about the challenges you're trying to overcome, and it seems that you're doing a great job of doing that. And I can't wait to see how you guys grow from strength to strength. Hopefully, you've enjoyed coming on, chatting to me, and
We
sort of
have, yeah.
maybe, hopefully, you haven't fallen out over the Mr. and Mrs.
Oh no.
Johnny's question mark over friendship.
Yeah.
Won't be a lasting
No.
comment.
Debate will rage on.
Please do like, review, share, comment, tune in for the next session. We'll see you there. Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's podcast, please give us a like, rate our show 5 stars, or go ahead and subscribe so you're the first to know when we release another episode like this. And if you know anyone who might like this too, be sure to share this episode with them so they can enjoy it as well. We're a new podcast, so your support is really appreciated.